We are Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
It is Monday afternoon, and that means we are talking upsets, upset nation. Can I hear it for a what upset?
Woohoo!
Yeah. So just 2 weeks into the NCAA wrestling season, and I don't know. I think there's some pretty good upsets. What do you think, Mike?
Holy crap. I mean, I thought last weekend there was some pretty solid guys because there was guys in the top 5 and top 10 that went down. But then this weekend happened and it's just like, what is happening? I don't
Yeah,
remember there being this many upsets this fast into the season by this many unranked guys.
yeah, especially a world champ,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
reigning NCAA champ.
Yeah. The reigning. Yeah.
Get this to a backup.
Yeah. Yeah.
By all
No,
accounts, Ryan Crookham is a backup to Connor McGonigal. Maybe not anymore, probably not anymore.
probably not anymore,
But as of going into this weekend, he was definitely the backup. Why else would you have Connor McGonigal wrestle at the All-Star Classic if he was not your starter? That doesn't make
after this weekend, it makes the All-Star Classic matchup kind of awkward. Like he might be wrestling in the All-Star Classic, and then that might be his last competition for the season. Like,
I mean, that's tough. I mean, maybe Crookham redshirts.
I think he is a redshirt freshman, so I think he already redshirted.
He was so I didn't know they did this. He shared the deferred eligibility wrestler of the year honors last year.
Yeah, so then he had to have been a redshirt last year.
So yeah, maybe he transfers because Ryan
McGonigal transfers
just took out Vito Arujau 8-4, and it wasn't like, oh yeah, like fluky thing. He took him down twice.
Yeah, I mean Vito was sloppy on that second takedown. I think he was like, okay, I got like 40 seconds, and I'm losing by 1, and then he just went and took a kind of bad shot that Crookham was able to just capitalize on, and that was it.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just tell by the body language that Crookham was getting after it. He wanted that win, and Vito that was just another match for Vito, and maybe he was taking him for granted a little bit. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, he probably is like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, just going in for another match. I realize he just beat McGonigal, but
yeah. So I mean, not to jump ahead, but Ryan Crookham beat his teammate Connor McGonigal, number 6, who's pegged for the All-Star Classic, 6-3. And I guess this was the semifinals of the collegiate.
No, that wasn't in that was the pool play. For some reason, teammates were put in the same pool.
And it really didn't. I don't get this event. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, you're in a pool of 3 guys. You wrestle both of them. The winners of the pool then wrestle the winner of another pool. And that happened to be Vito and Crookham as how it matched up. But yeah, I don't understand why Crookham and McGonigal were put in the same pool. Like, you're only getting 2 matches in that pool. Why is one of them against your teammate?
I guess my bet would be that Crookham is beating him in the room, and they were treating this somewhat as a wrestle off.
Could be. I mean, I know my college coaches always took if you had a match in an open tournament or any tournament, they would weigh that more heavily, or against actual competition, they'd weigh that heavier than the direct wrestle off, or even how you were doing in the room against one another. So like if I matched up with someone and I beat them in the whatever open, and I lost to them in the wrestle off, they would weigh me winning in that tournament heavier. But that was just my coaches.
Yeah, I mean, you might get some points for beating the national champ.
Yeah, I think that gives you big points. I mean, you beat your teammate, who's the All-Star Classic not recipient but competitor there, and then you followed up by beating world and reigning champ, who won in such dominant fashion over RB. Like, what? Everyone was talking Vito's going to be, or is, the pound for pound. Like, he's in the conversation for pound best guy. And then he loses to an unranked backup. Like, I mean, not to discredit Crookham because clearly he's a contender, but like before this weekend, no one had Crookham on their radar, like as like, yeah, he might be in the mix.
Yeah, and it sounds bad when we say it's a backup. I mean, it's technically true, but I mean, this guy's accolades are very impressive. Three-time Pennsylvania state champ, 116 and 3 with 51 falls in high school, and he was the first ever eighth grader to win Super 32 high school division. So this guy's a stud. I mean, it's
He's
not
very talented.
Yeah, and what impressed me in his match against Vito was he refused to give up any points. He fought.
There was that one crazy scramble, right?
Oh my God, right by the edge, and he's doing these funky rolls, and I mean, he's diving on the ankles, and he's exposing his back.
I couldn't believe that didn't end up in him scoring. Like,
yeah,
like
I mean, I wouldn't say Vito like wrestled terribly. I don't think he was able to finish where he needed to finish.
Yeah.
And Crookham, I mean, you saw him. He was bouncing up and down. He was first to the middle of the mat. He wanted it. I think he wanted it more, and it showed. And he broke him. Even someone like yelled out on the side of the mat, "He broke him! He broke Vito!"
Which is wild to think that there was someone that could break Vito. Vito seems so untouchable after his most recent performances. So it's like, how?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this, but Vito lost to Sam Latona early in the season last year. And then he went on and he looked absolutely in peak condition at the NCAA tournament. Remember, this is just November. So none of this matters right now.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Vito was, I mean, this is folk style now. Like, he's not used to these guys doing these funk rolls in position. So maybe he's not used to getting into those types of scrambles, which these other guys who have been dedicating to a folk style clearly have been.
That could have played a factor, yeah. And yeah, it is still early, so like I'm not saying that Vito isn't going to be in the mix for the title, but like it's still crazy to think that Vito's starting off his season with a loss this early into it.
And you know what's even crazier is that Vito probably won't win the Hodge Trophy because of this.
Oh yeah. If he goes on and wins the title and has like tons of bonus and stuff, yeah, that's probably what's going to cost him.
Because there's bound to be someone who's undefeated at the end of the year, and that usually is the number one criteria. But
yeah, they usually have that and bonus point percentage.
So let's give it up to Ryan Crookham, definitely wrestler of the week.
Yeah, wrestler of the week for sure.
Let's
up to this point.
Let's get into some other crazy upsets because even if this didn't happen, we still have some pretty major upsets that happened.
Yeah, there was a lot of major ones despite the national champ going down.
So last week we talked about Marcus Blaze beating Matt Ramos. And then I discovered that Marcus Blaze has a brother named Joey Blaze who wrestles at Purdue. And lo and behold, Joey Blaze knocks out Ed Scott.
Yeah, Joey Blaze is like, yo, Marcus, you can't have all the glory. I need to also upset someone. So let's get rid of, returning All-American. Take him out.
What a 2 weeks in the Blaze household this must be. If you're the Blaze parents, you are probably just over the moon right now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And that match, I mean, it went to overtime. Ed Scott, he almost had a takedown on the edge as time ran out. They challenged it. It was overturned, no takedown. And then Joey Blaze just kind of like slide by and just took him down at the end. And he won. He beat him.
Yeah. Unranked Joey Blaze. Well, not unranked no more.
Which is crazy because Ed Scott is a very high scoring wrestler. And
yeah, he's usually the crazy, he lets it fly. He's kind of like Andonian with letting it fly almost.
Speaking of Matt Ramos, he took another loss as well. His stock just continues to decline. He loses to Jacob Camacho of NC State.
The funny thing is, although this is an upset, of all the upsets, this isn't like that as big of one as some of these other ones, because a lot of these other ones are unranked guys knocking off guys. At least Camacho's ranked like in the roughly top 10.
Yeah, I'd say top 10. Yeah, and it was close. I mean, I don't know. I guess it was close. I think Ramos got the first takedown. It was 8-5 total. In this day and age, 8-5 is one takedown deficit. So Yeah, it was pretty close. Again, this is November. We'll see how Ramos bounces
Another
back.
All-Star Classic guy who's got 2 losses now, one to a high schooler.
Well, only one that counts.
Yeah, only one that counts.
And the Camacho loss won't hurt him too bad because that's a ranked opponent.
Yeah, but even so, like, not a good start to your season as the returning national runner-up. Like,
weren't you saying didn't you say Ramos is going to beat Noto? Do you have any changes on that now?
I mean, Noto looked pretty good this weekend. Yeah, I'm a lot more skeptical of Ramos pulling it off. Noto's probably going to beat him up.
Noto's been looking good. I don't know if his competition's been as steep, but
yeah, but Ramos is not in peak form right now. So I think Noto might actually be able to pull off knocking him. And the funny thing is, Noto used to be at NC State, so like Camacho and Noto, like they used to be teammates. So like Noto could have been the NC State's guy.
So could Steve O'Pullen. He was at NC State.
Yeah, and Steve O'Pullen, like it's kind of like when they had Bryce Meredith and Ryan Jack, or not Ryan Jack,
Kevin Jack, yeah,
Kevin Jack.
Yep. Yeah. So I know we're gonna probably do a separate video about Ohio State, Virginia Tech, but we just have to mention it quickly because Brendan McCrone majors Eddie Ventresca 11-3.
Yeah, that was a surprise for sure.
Honestly, though, like Ventresca hit one of the nastiest duck unders I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow blew that.
Yeah.
Like if he gets that takedown instead, Ventresca wins that match.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, that was like, how did you not score with that? How did you end up getting scored on with that? Like, yeah, that was wild.
But welcome to the show, Brendan McCrone. And then speaking of Eddie Ventresca, he loses 9-0 to Jack Maeda of American.
Oh,
who's
yeah, that was I wasn't expecting that.
I think he's ranked top 15, but
yeah, but still 9-0, like great weekend for you, man.
Like, I mean, I was talking about it in our 25 pounds preseason preview. I think that Eddie Ventresca may have been a little over ranked based on his NCAA tournament last year. I think he just maybe had a great tournament and a great run.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal tournament.
Yeah, but he was into that match. He was like 26 seed. So clearly, I don't know, because this is what happened at the NCAA tournament. Some guys have already passed their peak. They we see it with Iowa all the time. They don't look themselves. They don't perform as well as they are capable of. And the conference tournament sometimes takes the life. It's a gauntlet. So by the time you get to the NCAA tournament, some guys are peaking. Some guys have already, they're just on fumes at that point. So maybe that's what happened with Vincenzo. I mean, I think he's a talented wrestler, but man, he keeps taking losses after losses.
Yeah, unranked guy, and then Maeda, like, yeesh. He's definitely. I feel like he's falling out of the top 10 in these rankings after that. Oh,
that's tough. So heavyweights, Nate Taylor of Lehigh beats Owen Treffin, NC State, 6-2.
Yeah, that was. I didn't think Taylor was going to be able to compete with Treffin, but he handled him.
I mean, Nate Taylor is absolutely massive.
Yeah,
he's like
Lehigh's great at getting those big heavyweights. They used to have what was his name?
Jordan Wood.
Jordan Wood.
Wood was he was a tree. Yeah, I mean Nate Taylor. I mean he like towered over Treffin, and Treffin, I think, he's a top 10 guy. He lost to Kirkley as well, but
well, yeah, so did Taylor. They both lost like roughly the same score.
Yeah,
like 8-2 and 7-1 or something like that.
Yeah. How about Anthony Ferrari over Victor Voinovich?
Well, yeah, that was snooze fest of a match. I mean, 2 stalling calls and then an escape.
It's like the worst match you could ever watch.
Like okay, kudos to Ferrari for getting the win over returning round of 12 guy who might be his teammate, which the Brands Bros might be like, yo, Ferrari, you're our guy, because you beat him, but maybe not, because from what I gather, he might be at Iowa for the second semester. But yeah, that was I guess I mean, what was Iowa even doing at that tournament? Like, it was a D3 tournament, and they sent their A squad.
The Luther Open.
Like, they were the only Division I team there, and freaking Voinovich also had a tiebreaker match with his other teammate Jesseroga. Like, so Voinovich did not look good.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he transferred from Okie State to be the guy for Iowa. I mean, I'm sure they're paying him pretty good with the NIL, but still, to have your spot in jeopardy after one weekend like this, potentially, I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Brands Bros were like, kick ya. But I mean, Ferrari didn't score a point. Voinovich did score a point. I mean, because the 2 points that Ferrari did score were off of stalling, so like, didn't take him down. He didn't earn an escape. Like, so like, I mean, yeah, he scored, but like at the same time, if they wrestled again, I kind of feel like Voinovich would be able to manage to not stall as much.
If the rumor mills are true, we could be seeing Ferrari at 149 for Iowa and Ferrari at 197 for Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, that
would be a big help to them considering the ruling for their team.
Yeah,
those guys won. They lost Cass, they lost Brands, they lost Assad for the whole year. So if they're down those guys, getting Ferrari in at 97 is a major upgrade.
And I don't know what they're going to do with guys like Gabe Arnold or Ben Keeter.
Oh, Gabe Arnold did compete, and he went, I think, undefeated at the Luther Open. So
yeah, against D2 and D3 schools.
Yes,
I think I think Luther Open was in Iowa, right? Or somewhere out there. They were probably like, all right, let's just local. Let's just go to this thing, get some matches to start us off.
Treat it like wrestle-offs, maybe. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Every coach has their different philosophy, but we'll see. So a couple more. Adam Kemp of Cal Poly takes out Peyton Mako 8-7.
Yeah, Kemp making a name for himself. I mean, he's ranked, I think, in the top 20-ish. But I wouldn't have picked him to knock off Mako. I mean, Mako's a returning All-American.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Kemp has his father, Lee Kemp, is like a wrestling icon. So he's
he's starting to make a name for himself.
He's got the genes for it. Now let's start to see the accolades line up for it.
Well, yeah, hey, knocking off a Missouri All-American is definitely building that accolades. I mean, maybe he'll start being in the conversation for All-American or more this season.
Yeah, I feel like he's had some quality wins in the past, but hasn't really able to matriculate it into anything noteworthy, I guess. But Tony Negron over Gavin Kane, another unranked guy.
Well, All-Americans just keep dropping like flies. Like, they makes you wonder if they're gonna All-American again this year.
7-4 was the score of that one. And ASU, I mean, they got these tough guys. I mean, unrelated. It wasn't a upset per se, but how about Messenbrink against what was the guy's name? Ruiz?
Oh, he was at Arizona State though.
Yeah, the Arizona State guy. Yeah, that's what made me think of it.
Yeah, I forget. I forget the guy's name, but he it was 14-10.
Was 14? Yeah, Nico Ruiz.
Yeah,
I mean, Messenbrink, he won the tournament, but he gassed that first match.
I guess Messenbrink is the guy. Facundo's not there, and it seems like they're giving him the green light. I know Terrell Barraclaw also wrestled, but he wasn't in the same pool or division. I kind of doubt he's the guy that they're going to end up going with. Barraclaw, Messenbrink.
I was so upset. Like, why does Messenbrink get in the A pool, but Meyer Shapiro doesn't?
Yeah, I don't. How did these pool, like, again? Why are you getting in the same pool as your teammate?
I don't get unless like the coaches asked for it. It'd be like, hey, yeah, this is
Then
our
also Aaron Brooks, Michael Beard, Trent Headley. Why aren't all three of them in the same pool or leading to the two winners in face each other? Because
Aaron Brooks
Beard and Hidlay were in the same pool. They wrestled each other, or
Oh, you're right.
they
Wait,
ended.
why is
Either
Aaron
they were in the
Brooks?
same pool. What?
Aaron
Yeah,
Brooks was in the B pool.
Aaron Brooks was in a pool with nobodies, not nobodies, but
He
like
was in the B pool.
yeah, he was in a pool with like guys who was like, all right, yeah, Aaron Brooks is gonna just walk through this the whole thing. And then Beard and Hidlay, I know they wrestled and Hidlay ended up beating him like 8-2 or 8
12 to
1?
3.
12. Oh, it ended up being 12-3. So but yeah, he beat him up. It really opened up in the third period. But like I was like, why isn't Brooks getting either of these guys? Like this,
I must have missed that
what's going
because I
on?
just assumed Aaron Brooks was going to be in the A pool, and when I didn't see him there, I was like, oh yeah, I guess it's not wrestling.
No, he is, yeah. And then
That's so weird.
he didn't get the two actual ranked guys that he could have had. Like no, why? Like, I don't understand how Journeyman runs that event.
Yeah,
But
this is the Journeyman Collegiate Classic for those who don't know what we're talking about.
how about this isn't like a huge upset because Luis Fernandez of Cornell getting thrown to his back by Hofstra's Kluver.
You know,
Double overs, tossed him to his back and pinned him.
Papadopoulos is going to be talking about that all year.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a nice win there for Hofstra. You don't see that too often. But yeah, Fernandez with the round of 12 finish 2 years ago. But again, yeah, I was like, all right, he's got Hofstra. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be able to beat him since he was in the round of 12, and then you get tossed to his back and pinned. So
the last one I had here was David Evans over CJ Composto 4-1. This is a Penn State backup of Bo Bartlett. It beats out All-American CJ Composto.
it seems like if you're an All-American and you're returning, it does not matter. These new guys, they'll find a way to beat you. Like you're returning national champ, you ain't safe. Like forget about it. Holy crow! I couldn't believe how it was just like upset after upset, and I love the upsets, but like I'm not used to this many.
Yeah, and Bo Bartlett, by the way, he was taken to overtime by Vince Cornella and won 4-1.
Yeah,
So that could have
Cornella's
been
not even
another
an
one.
All-American.
No, he wasn't. No.
Yeah, I think it what round of 12 or round of 16. I think it was. But like, yeah, that which makes me think like, oh, maybe Bart. I mean, if Mike was here, Mike would be like, yeah, it's Woods and Bartlett are on an island up here, and the rest of the field are down here. If that was true, Cornello would have never been able to take him to overtime. He ain't on no island. Maybe Woods is on an island by himself. Maybe. But Bartlett is right there in the mix with all of them. Like, I think any of these guys could take him out. Hardy could take him out. You know, so.
I mean, it's still early. It's November. I'm sure things are going to change as the season goes along, but you can't ignore the fact that these matches are happening. And
I wonder how much of it is the rule changes. Do you think that that's having the big impact and why we're seeing more upsets, or is it just this year happens to be the year of the upset?
I don't know. I feel like as long as you're trading takedowns, then the rule changes doesn't matter as much. But maybe like the only thing I can think of is mentally. Like if you look over the scoreboard and see you're losing 8-4, you might be like, oh shoot, I can't get into this. Because you might think like, oh, I'm down by 4. That's 2 scores. But really, it's
If you give up a 7-point move, that is really hard to come back from.
yeah. I mean, the catch-22 on that is like, oh, I could get a 7-point move of my own, but it's easier said than done, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, drop a comment down below. Do you think these upsets are because of the 3-point takedown, or is it just because it's November and it's guys are just getting the cobwebs off, or is just like the competition better these days? Like we saw that Flow video came out where they're like, why are high schoolers so much better now?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's true. Like Crookham is a perfect example. This guy's just been lurking in the shadows, and then once he gets a moment to shine, takes advantage of it.
That's true. I mean, I'd like to think he's gonna be the guy going forward. And McGonagall, despite his All-Star Classic debut, might be the end of the road for him.
I love that too because they're both EIWA, so they'll match up again.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. At very least at the conference tournament. I'm not sure if Lehigh and Cornell match up, but I mean, Lehigh. I mean, maybe we've been sleeping on Lehigh. They've had a couple of these upsets that we were talking about. They might be a better team than originally projected from the preseason.
Lehigh's always tough. They always have. I mean, they're Pennsylvania. I mean, they always have tough guys. It's just, yeah. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, drop a comment down below. What do you think about these upsets? What's the craziest ones, and what do you think is going to happen next? Who's
going down next?
Who's
getting upset next? I was saying just the other day, I was like, I feel like one of these top guys is bound to lose, and then Vito lost. So like, no one's safe.
Well, I was watching Starachi versus Nick Icontrera of Penn, and I was like, all right, maybe this is going to be similar to what happened to Vito. And it really was the body language thing, because like Crookham really looked like he wanted it and was getting after it. And Icontrera, he just like it just didn't.
Like, oh crap, I got Starachi.
Yeah, just he didn't have that same gusto.
Yeah.
So you gotta have that confidence. That's the key.
For sure. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe on your way out.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.